Good morning and welcome to Fridays for Families. We're going to talk real quick this morning about choosing summer care. It seems like it's still in the middle of the winter, but we've got summer camp just around the corner. So the three different types of camps would be child care centers, which would have a license and would have a camp situation during the summer, day camps that might not be licensed but would be open just during the summers, and then residential camps where the children would spend the night. Some of the things you might want to think about with the types of camp you're looking at is, what kinds of activities are interesting? Well, you need transportation. Do you need help paying for childcare? And how would your child feel in a smaller or larger camp? If you're considering residential camp, is your child ready for a sleepaway camp? And then how structured is the program? Some of the key quality indicators for summer camps are a low counselor to child ratio and small group sizes with low counselor turnover, especially now with COVID in gear. Hopefully by the summer, it'll be a little bit less, but you do want to definitely have smaller group sizes and a counselor that's with the same group all the time. You want to see that the counselors at the camps have post-high school education and training and some prior experience with children, and that if it is a camp or a licensed childcare provider, you want to see that they have at least a higher star rating or maybe even a national accreditation if it's a camp that's not necessarily licensed. And of course, you want to make sure that there is disease control and safety plans in place. During pandemic time, which is what we're all living right now, we want to see that there's a daily health assessment for the campers that are coming in day camps. You want to see face coverings on children who are older than 3 or 4 years old. A common thing is hand washing. You need to wash your hands every time you touch common surfaces, every time you go inside, outside, that kind of thing. And again, the lower capacity is something that would be helpful during the summer. Some of the places have halved their capacity and some have just, lowered their capacity by maybe a quarter or something like that. And then of course you want to limit the people who are coming in and out. So if it's in a standing facility, you want to say that there's not a whole lot of vendors coming in and out, a lot of visitors, that kind of thing. So, just the people who are in that pod of people are the ones that are together all the time. Again, you want to see counselors are staying with one group at all times, and that during the daytime, they're able to monitor the children for symptoms, make sure that, hay fever is just hay fever and that there's no fevers going on actually. And to keep the campers as 6 feet apart as much as possible. They might stop doing certain types of games that would require close contact. And of course, when someone does get sick, we want to make sure that they're quarantining adequately and they're not just out for a couple of days, and that they're really taking it seriously and staying out for the full 2 weeks that are necessary. This door sign is something that should be posted at every licensed childcare provider at the door. It should be in English and Spanish, and it's per Health and Human Services regulations of the state of North Carolina. So basically it says, do not enter the building if you or any of the children you are dropping off have been in close contact with someone who has COVID, have been advised by a health department to quarantine, or if you have COVID, or if you have symptoms of COVID. And then it tells about the higher risk categories of folks. So that should be posted. Non-licensed providers should also have some kind of a procedure, and that it should be posted. And if not, then you should ask about them. What are your plans? And what are your rules on this stuff? So going to the programming, the camp should encourage parental visits and questions about the curriculum. The counselor should be nurturing, the children should be happy. Counselors and children are actively engaged in talking and playing. You want to see that ratios are always maintained. So I would ask, what is the ratio of campers per teacher in your camp? And then look at the site if you can, both indoors and outdoors, and see that it's clean and that safety seems to be a priority. So there's nothing that people can fall off of, no big issues with sanitation. Of course, right now you shouldn't have any. The facility should also promote good health and nutrition. So if you bring lunches, they should probably tell you, okay, a lot of times they'll say, if you pack a lunch that's not healthy, then we'll supplement, but you're going to have to pay, like $1 per item. And then they'll let you know what they expect to see in the lunches. And if they provide lunches, of course, you want to make sure that that is healthy. And then your child's disposition should match the counselor's styles as well. Speaking of ratios, the camp ratio should be around here. If they're 4 or 5 years old, it should be 1 teacher for every 20 children if it's a licensed facility. And if they are, in a 5-star, it should be 12 to 1 or 12 children for 1 provider. If they have an ACA, which is American Camp Association, day camp accreditation, then they would have these ratios here, the 1 to 6 or the 1 to 5. The resident camps are 1 to 5, day camps are 1 to 6. And it shows you the ratios all through the camps. So you can kind of keep an eye on how many children each counselor is responsible for. Like we said earlier, when you're looking for camps, you should begin early because they do fill up fast, and they also start recruiting their students early so they can go ahead and put their curriculums together and get their groups assigned and hire their teachers and things like that. Consider what kinds of activities, what weeks you'll need you'll need camp versus vacation. So if you're planning a vacation, then you wouldn't have to pay for camp those 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever. Think about the location and the ages of the other campers as well. And then of course, when you're talking to the camps or if you're on their websites, look for their policies and procedures. If you need a scholarship, ask them, it doesn't hurt to ask, all they can say is no if they don't have it. And so ask about scholarships whenever you're looking at camps. And then ask about accreditations or licensing to see. This website here is the www.acacamps.org is the where you can find listings of accredited camps by the American Camp Association. And this ncchildcare.ncdhhs.gov is where you can find licensed childcare providers. On your camp visit checklist, so if you go to visit the camp before you place your child, look and see if the program's focus and activities match your child's interests. Again, talk about their philosophies of competition and discipline and how that fits with your values. Is there a balance between the structured activities and free open playtime? How are the counselors recruited and screened? So are they coming from colleges? Are they coming from, the year before? Are they somebody who started and is still working at the camp? That kind of thing. Make sure that their CPR and first aid trainings are up to date and see if there's a nurse on site, especially if it's out in the wilderness or an overnight camp especially. Culture is extremely important during camping. So you want to make sure that the culture is diverse and inclusive for everybody who wants to come in, and that learning is inclusive for all abilities. So everybody should be able to participate in the activities. The lesson plans and the activities should be modified to meet everyone's needs. And then they should have diverse and inclusive toys, materials, things to work with. If they're doing art, materials for that. And discipline should be non-biased. So teachers should be able to be very objective when they are disciplining and just say, oops, this happened, this is the consequence, instead of saying, well, this child is a problem and singling them out. You want to make sure that there's positivity and praise from teachers to see that teachers are positive and building the children's self-esteem up. Some of the helpful websites for camps are here. And you can go in there and, this is something that we love to help you with. So if you want to give us a call at 1-855-327-5933, you can also give us a call and we will help you out to find the child care providers or the summer camps that you are looking for, and we can send that to you for free. And we do speak English and Spanish, so feel free and give us a call if you have any questions, or if you need a listing, or if you want to find out if your camp is virtual or in person this year. We can help you figure those things out. So thank you so much for your time, and happy Friday.